Now it's time to know. Now it's time to check that our in payment service our input data is successfully getting in the validation service or not. The data which is coming from the e-commerce and it's successfully sent to the validation service or not. For that, I create the one method where the parameter input argument must be in the payment as a payment service. The data which payment in payment service class we are having the user data and the payment data that will be passed as a JSON format a JSON format in a request header so that we will get the necessary details. So here at the request um, at the request body we are passing as a body. It's really necessary. We are passing request body as a payment service payment service request body as a payment service and this whole payment service the input data is passing as an input and we are seeing that whether this input is successfully sent to the request body and successfully checking that whether this method is whether this input which we are getting from the e-commerce is successfully transferred to the registered service or not, and that I will be checked by using the postman. And here now again I'm going to check whether it's working or not. It's showing it's working, and let's check in the console whether we are getting anything or not. We are already getting the payment created, but now the main problem is that we have to pass the data is in the Java object, but we have to pass in the JSON format. And for that, we already knew that how to convert the Java object to JSON by using the JSON. And here I'm importing the JSON. JSON. Yeah, I'm using the auto white because it directly inject all the dependency thing in the JSON format. By using the auto white, it usually communicate with one string to the another string. That's why we are using the auto white annotation. As we already knew that how to convert the JSON string payment as request JSON dot to JSON as payment service, and this is going to be our string. As, as if it is successfully as if it is successfully converted, and we are able to see whether the input we are passing is already getting as an output. That's why I'm using this as a payment request thing. Now let's again check in the postman. Yeah, we are already getting all those things which we are passing as a JSON format and showing the payment is created, and we are getting as a payment created also along with the data, all the data which we are getting from the e-commerce site. And it's really fantastic to see that already our thing is really working. Now, now we have to understand why security is really important in our system while we are developing any code or while the data is transferring from one service to the other service. And for that, I'm using the HMACSHA256 security, which is really very useful and which is used by most of the company. As we know that e-commerce system is deployed in one cloud, and our payment system is deployed in another cloud. We are using if we are using the AWS service, and suppose the e-commerce service will use Azure or something. But for communicate the e-commerce with the validation service or our payment service, they use some routers, and that routers is exposed to the hackers also. And that router is working with the TCP, and over the TCP it is working on the HTTP request and response model. As for connecting with e-commerce to the validation service, we are using the router, and router is really exposed to the hackers also. And for improvise and for secure our own data without tampering our data, we have to use some security measures, security model algorithm, and for that we are using the HMAC. We are using the HMAC security model. It's really a good SHA HMAC SHA256 algorithm model. How this works, we will see in a minute. Algorithm model. So here, the main important thing is that uh, here in HMAC model, we are having the HMAC model. Inside HMAC model, we are having the SHA256. SHA256 is inside the it is SHA256, and this one is HMAC. HMAC algorithm uses internally using the SHA256 algorithm, and before that, we are also having the security key, which is really important, which is really secure that we can't be able to share to anybody else. We have to share only the e-commerce site, and for that we are having the one security key. This is a security key. This is a security key. And while combining the security key and the input data which is coming from the e-commerce to the HMAC, this is input data which is coming from the e-commerce site to our validation site. And before coming to the validation, we are having this algorithm, this important algorithm which check whether the data which is coming from the e-commerce is actually the correct data we are receiving in the validation server. And this is the HMAC algorithm where the input data is coming and with the security key, and by using the SHA256 algorithm inside, they are generating a one hash code which is so much secure that nobody can nobody can nobody can reverse back and see what the data is inside the hash code. So this algorithm having the two important thing which is really we have to keep in the mind, which works on the two important principles which we have to keep in the mind as it's very necessary to keep in the mind. First one is every first one is every generated generated hash is unique hash. No is unique hash. No data having the same hash. No data is having the same hash code. And second one is the two same data must have the same hash even if we change one even if we change one alphabet also inside the one alphabet inside that data the hash code will be generated differently that shouldn't be the same hash code which is generated previously, and that makes a algorithm so strong that no hacker can tamper our data. So HMAC is working on the providing these three security. HMAC providing these three security. First one is authentication, second one is authorization, and third one is data security. That means if the client could place an order of 10,000 in the e-commerce website, that will be that same data, that same payment will go to our validation service. And if the 10,000 data and that will not go to the 10,000 same data to validation service, that means in the middle of the passing of the data, there is tampering, and that is called the data tampering, and that will be that security will be provided by the HMAC algorithm security. And authentication is the correct e-commerce system is on the correct e-commerce system is only making this API call, not any random e-commerce system. Those e-commerce system which in which the client is making the payment, that e-commerce system is only able to call the API for the validation service. And if another e-commerce system is if another e-commerce system wants to call to that API service, they must have the different hash signature. If the hash signature is not different, then it means the data is also tampering between the transfer of the data, and that all those security is provided by the hash map. So even in the e-commerce must have to provide the input data along with the hash signature and hash signature. Suppose if we are having this is e-commerce and this one is validation service. I'll create in a good way. Actually. Mhm. This one is this one is suppose this one is e-commerce e-commerce and we are having validation. This one is validation service. So when the e-commerce is sending the data, so when the e-commerce is sending the data to the validation service, it must have to send along with the data. It must have to send the HMAC signature. HMAC. It must have to send the HMAC signature also along with the input data. So in the validation service, we are also having the same HMAC algorithm. We are having the HMAC algorithm also inside the validation service, and that HMAC in validation service, uh, we we create our own HMAC signature and then verify the e-commerce HMAC signature with the validation service HMAC signature. If both the HMAC signature is equal, then afterwards the validation service will proceed further. If those signatures are not equal, then it shows that in the middle of the data transferring the data is tampered, and validation service will block the e-commerce data, and that will not proceed further. Now the main problem arises how to write the HMAC signature in our code, how to build the code, how to create the code to generate the HMAC signature. For HMAC signature, we have to for generating the HMAC signature, we need a security key, and that security key is generated by the validation service. Validation service developer provide generate the security key and provide it to the e-commerce system, and that security key must be that much secure that the e-commerce system must not be shared with anybody else. If they can share this security key, then any hacker will hack the system and they tamper the data of e-commerce. That's why the security key is so secure that it must not be shared to any other e-commerce system. And every e-commerce system having a different security key so that the generated HMAC signature is different from the other e-commerce system. Now we will see how to generate the HMAC signature and how to generate the security key and how to pass to the e-commerce site. Now, suppose I'm using the ChatGPT for the helping the how to generate the e-commerce HMAC signature. Provide the Java code to generate the HMAC signature for given JSON input as a secret key. This is my key. So in ChatGPT is showing that we have to know that we have to convert the JSON string to byte array, and then afterwards in the Mac class we have it in JavaScript package to generate the HMAC signature and then encode the byte signature to readable format as the signature. So now I'm seeing that it creating the string JSON input and having the string secret key. And in this, we are having the two methods for the calculate signature key, and for second one is for the verifying the signature key. So now static string generate signature, and also we have to verify the signature whether the two signature is equal or not. Now we have to check whether this thing is working or not. For that, we are having the two method. First one is we have to generate. We have to check the two methods. First one is generate HMAC, and the second one is to verify whether the e-commerce HMAC signature is equal to the validation service HMAC signature. Now, first of all, for the best practice, we have to create an interface, and here inside the interface, we are having two methods. First for the calculate HMAC signature, and second for verify the HMAC signature. And for that, I'm creating the separate class first interface, and here I'm going to change the payment service, and here the name is to be I. The name is to be I implementation HMAC signature, and we are having the two method. First one is public string calculate HMAC signature, and the input is it should be and the input it should be the string JSON data, which is provided by the payment system. Okay, and now the second one is public boolean verify signature. Verify signature and should be the string signature, should be the string signature, and string string received HMAC. This should be received by the e-commerce HMAC signature and the data should be passed from the character HMAC signature as a JSON data. So these are two implementation method which we are seeing in the HMAC signature class. And now our main thing is that now create the class for this interface. HMAC signature service. This is a class for the HMAC signature service. Add the interface. HMAC signature. Okay. Now we have to add. Now this is the we are getting the character HMAC signature, and ChatGPT is also given the code for the HMAC signature, and we have to write. We have to paste this one. I'm going to copy paste this one and then check whether it's working or not. Import everything which is really needed for the thing, and we have to also mention the secret key private. My secret key. This is our secret key. This is our secret key, and now we already get the secret key. Now the thing is that JSON data. We have to JSON. The passing of the JSON data. And print stack trace. We will handle the exception afterwards, but first of all, as the data is generated, and we have to write. We have to write the signature. Firstly, we are getting this byte in the form of byte, and we're converting this as a signature. I write. I just refactor this one as create a local extract local variable. Yeah, kind of signature. I'll write it as I named local variable as signature. So here it's a signature and it should be printed so that it can be easy for our debugging thing. Signature signature is generated. Signature. Now that signature is already generated inside the verify signature, it should be we are calling the calculator. We are calling the calculator HMAC signature. We are calling the yeah signature. We are calling the HMAC signature generated, and that generated signature should be matched with the receive HMAC signature. Firstly, should be this out signature is not generated. If it's generated, then it should be printed as signature then with the signature code. But as it is not generated, so calculate. So as it's coming, and we are calling the calculate HMAC inside the verify signature to verify whether generated signature should be verified is equal to the HMAC signature. Uh, uh, Data is passing and to check. So I'm using the if condition for checking, using the in condition for checking whether it's generated signature dot equals to received. Firstly, we have to also check whether we have to also handle the null pointer exception. Should not be null pointer exception. So I'm also going to check the generated signature not equal to null, and it should be equal to the receive HMAC. Then uh, it um, then it will return the true HMAC SHA256 signature. SHA256 signature is valid, and it returns the true. If it is not valid, then it will return the false. It's simple as it is. Return false. ChatGPT make our time saver, but for before using the code or anything, we have to use our brain where which methods should be put inside which class and how to create the class. All those things are created by the human, and all those things are require some brain. So we have to put our own common logic and know that which method is really needed for checking and which method is really have to avoid for checking. Is not valid. This and now we will call to in our payment controller this HMAC signature, verify signature, copy HMAC and um, boolean verify HMAC boolean is valid. Yeah, it's got the name in convention. It's valid Hmm. Now we have to import private HMAC signature service HMAC signature and import this class also. Putting the auto wired for auto configuration of this HMAC and now calling the HMAC verify method dot verify payment and payment request as a this as a payment request JSON as a request a signature, but we will have to know that whether the signature is how to pass as a signature, how to create the HMAC signature, how to create the HMAC signature in our own class payment controller. We already know that this is a verified signature and how for that we have to pass the signature. We have to pass the signature in the postman header, and that is really needed for HMAC signature. As but first of all, we have to check whether the signature is generated or not. That this is the thing, and we are going to print system out signature generated signature. This is a signature which is generated while passing the input data signature, and we are passing this as a header. Hmm. Now we are passing and we're checking whether it's working or not. Okay, whether it's working or not, we have to check this and it's valid. For that, we have to write the signature whether. Okay, yeah. Now check whether it's working or not. It's showing that it failed to start. And why it's showing it's failed to start? We have to check the error, and it's really important. Okay. Firstly, I didn't mention that it's a service class. We have to mention there is also a bean class. So for that, I mentioned service class because it is a service class of ISA container. Now it's working. Now we will check whether it's working or not. The payment is created, and now here we are getting the generated signature. This is the generated signature, and this generated signature must have to be passed to the header and then check whether receive signature is equal to generate signature or not. So I'm going to pass this as a header here. I am going to copy and then paste this one. Paste. Now check whether it's working or not. Payment is created and it's still not working. Why it's not working? Let's check. Hmm. Now in Spring Boot we are receiving this as a header value and now how to check whether if we are receiving this as a header value, how to bring back to our REST controller. So in Spring Boot, in Spring Boot, application we are receiving this HMACS generated signature as header value. How to how to use in REST controller class. For that we are using For that we have to use @request header. Inside the request header, it mentioned that inside the request header we have to mention it's a request header HMAC signature and string HMAC signature. It's just simple as that. So I'm going to insert at the rate where it is in a payment controller. I'm going to create another argument or parameter at the rate request header as a annotation for HMAC signature. This is HMAC signature. Copy, paste. Okay. In this HMAC signature. So I'm going to import this one. So now it must be verified. This is HMAC signature and this is received and this should be verified whether it's working or not. This as we are having the same method, so I'm going to HMAC signature. I'm going to change something so that it will not be creating the confusion between the verify and which HMAC signature is that. Yeah, paste. Okay, now change. No, not like that. As this one, as it should be in a JSON format. Copy, paste. Okay, now it's working. Now we have to check whether it is working in the postman or not. Payment is created and yeah, the signature is valid. It means the data which is passing from the e-commerce, it successfully passes to the validation service and the signature is equal, and this is a unique generated HMAC signature which is generated, which is a reference, and in every transaction every merchant having their unique transaction reference number, and that is so uniquely that every merchant needs to verify that whether this transaction number is equal or not. For that we are using, for security purpose we are using the HMAC security, and that's for all. That is what I needed to demonstrate into this freedom. So have a nice day and thank you.